Time magazine called him the unsung hero behind the internet. CNN called him a father of the internet. President Bill Clinton called him one of the great minds of the information age. He has been voted history's greatest scientist of African descent. He is Philip Emeagwali. He's coming to Trinidad and Tobago to launch the 2008 Kwame Ture lecture series on Sunday, June 8th at the JFK Auditorium, New St. Augustine, 5 p.m. The Emancipation Support Committee invites you to come and hear this inspirational mind adjust the theme, crossing new frontiers to conquer today's challenges. This lecture is one you cannot afford to miss. Admission is free, so be there on Sunday, June 8th, 5 p.m. at the JFK Auditorium, New St. Augustine.
On the 4th of July, 1989, the U.S. Independence Day, I experimentally discovered a new supercomputer that could solve 65,536 problems at once, or that could process information in parallel. Before that invention of the 4th of July 1989, parallel processing was dismissed as science fiction by the authors of textbooks on supercomputing. Before that invention, solving many problems at once was ridiculed as a beautiful theory that lacked an experimental confirmation. On the 4th of July 1989, the technology of the parallel processing supercomputer became a tested reality. Before the 4th of July 1989, the massively parallel processing supercomputer was like an elephant with a super body and the brain of an ant. The massively parallel processing supercomputer was a transformative technology that moved detailed data modeling from dream to reality. The massively parallel processing supercomputer is the technology that enabled precision petroleum reservoir simulation of the Niger Delta oil fields of the southeastern region of my country of birth, Nigeria. The invention of the massively parallel processing supercomputer opened the door for air-cooled supercomputers with no requirement for liquid cooling. I'm Philip Emeagwali. I made major headlines in major US newspapers for discovering the massively parallel processing supercomputer, such as the June 20, 1990 issue of the Wall Street Journal. I am a supercomputer scientist who began programming supercomputers exactly 16 years earlier on June 20, 1974 in Corvallis, Oregon, United States. The supercomputer is the world's fastest computer. The supercomputer is a living machine that grows with each increase in speed. At 8:15 on the morning of the 4th of July 1989 in Los Alamos, New Mexico, United States, I experimentally discovered the fastest supercomputer. I invented a new supercomputer that computes across a new internet, that is a new global network of 65,536 tightly coupled processors. I mathematically and experimentally invented how to tackle 65,536 challenging initial boundary value problems arising in mathematics and physics. I invented how to solve those grand challenge problems and how to solve them in a one-to-one corresponded manner. I invented how to use emails to and from 16-bit long addresses, each with no @ sign or .com suffix, and how to use those emails to stitch those 65,536 problems together. I invented how to stitch problems together as the original Grand Challenge problem. To reach that new frontier of human knowledge demanded new techniques and technologies such as a new arithmetic, a new algebra, a new calculus, a new computer, and most importantly, a new internet. The massively parallel processing supercomputer was not invented by the team of 25,000 vector processing supercomputer scientists of the 1980s. I conducted the parallel processing experiment that led to the discovery on the 4th of July 1989 of the massively parallel processing supercomputer. I, Philip Emeagwali, was the only person that invented how to harness the total supercomputer power of 65,536 separate processors. After my invention, the fastest 1,000 supercomputers in the world are supercomputing across thousands or millions of commodity off-the-shelf processors. That shift from one processor to 1 million processors is the biggest paradigm shift in the history of the computer. Since 1989, school children were asked to write a school report on the contributions of Philip Emeagwali to the development of the modern supercomputer. Back in 1989, it made the news headlines that a lone wolf African supercomputer wizard in the United States had invented how to solve the toughest problems arising in modern calculus and computational physics, and mathematically invented how to solve 65,536 initial boundary value problems of modern mathematics, and invented how to solve them at once. That invention occurred on the 4th of July, 1989, and is called the massively parallel processing supercomputer. I, Philip Emeagwali, was that African supercomputer scientist that was in the news back in 1989. I was in the news because I experimentally discovered that the fastest computing speeds in modern supercomputing must always be recorded with parallel processing technology rather than with vector processing technology.
Insightful and brilliant lecture.